Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Bible study.
Yay.
Woo!
Come on now.
All right, tonight you'll know it's part 2. That's why we're dressed in the same attire. We are continuing on with what speaks respect or disrespect to our spouse, honour or dishonour. We spoke largely last week about what speaks respect versus disrespect from wives to husbands. Tonight we're going to be largely looking at how husbands can do that to their wives, but we're also going to just be continue to discuss how to grow in our relationships biblically and in God's way.
Awesome.
So one of the primary ways a woman can feel disrespected, let's read a verse, shall we?
All right. Job chapter 31, verse 1. I made a covenant with mine eyes. Why then should I think upon a maid?
Okay. Well, let me say, this is actually Job showing respect, not disrespect. Now, obviously,
Much honor. Yep.
For wives and men, our primary respect is going to God. That's why we show respect to our spouse.
Amen.
So it's because of Job's love of and fear of the Lord that drives him to be such an excellent husband. And because he loves and fears the Lord, he understands that his wife, even though he did have quite a naughty wife, or she was definitely a wife who was struggling. I don't know if she was naughty. When you've lost that amount of children and that amount of suffering in one day, you might speak out a few of Satan's words yourself. So, but anyway, he was showing such respect to her because he was being exclusive with his eyes and with his thinking. He actually said, why should I think upon a maid?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep,
so one way that a woman can feel extremely disrespected is when her husband is looking at other women. So in the same way that we spoke about last week, about how a man is there to be a protector and a provider and all of these things, and he brings this richness into her life, a woman brings beauty. She brings sexual satisfaction. She brings all of that appeal and femininity and womanliness. And when a man is outsourcing, like we spoke about last week, he's outsourcing beauty. Oh, she's beautiful. Oh, she's pretty. Oh, she's sexually attractive. Or maybe I could get some satisfaction from her. That your woman feels the ultimate disrespect and rejection.
Oh, I 100% agree. Sad to say, because I've experienced it. But no, absolutely. A man shows the greatest respect and honor for his wife by causing her to be exclusive to him. So he's not over-appreciating any other woman. He's not getting any attention from any other woman. And definitely he's not perving on any other woman or taking in the appearance of any other woman. And it doesn't matter if she's showing herself off in any way, being super inappropriate by her attire. But you show the greatest honor to God, but definitely your wife, by turning a blind eye to women that are trying to vie for your attention. So even though a woman wants your attention, if she's not your wife, it doesn't mean you have to give it. So yeah, I 100% agree. The greatest honor and the greatest respect that I can show my wife is that there is no other woman outside you. You are my delight. You are my pleasure. You're the one that I come to even for comfort. No other woman, and because you're exclusively mine, and I come to you for my sexual needs. I come to you for entertainment, or pleasure, delight, and you have my heart. You're the only one that has my heart, and I'm not even have no desire. Obviously, thoughts can come into your head, but I have no desire to meditate on any thoughts about any other woman. And now, speaking from a man's perspective, I'm showing deep honor, deep respect for my wife, but I'm telling you, I'm blessed as a result of that.
That's good.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've been on the other side where I've been super selfish and definitely not exclusive. And I know what that's like, and to be living as a man that's addicted to pornography. So given over to the spirit of lust like that. And now coming on the other side where I've made decisions like that. I have made a covenant with my eyes, and I have fought to, why should I think on another maid? and then putting all my attention over to this one. I'm telling you, man, and I'm not saying it's what I get from my wife. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about clear conscience, clear soul. I'm talking about the pleasure and the delight, the satisfaction, the fulfillment that I get from pouring my attention over to the one God gave me. It dacks over any other little fling I could have anywhere else, or even entertaining my eyeballs. The delight, the pleasure of giving her my full attention in that way. There's nothing else like it. I advocate it, and I do. So yeah.
I love this. I feel a scripture coming on. Proverbs 31.
Proverbs 31. Let's go.
Yes, but not the woman. We're going to talk about man.
Proverbs.
Turn to Proverbs 31, everybody.
Yep.
Let's go verse 1. Let's just have a wee look. I've got to find it.
Yep.
Yeah, can you verse 3, but do it with a plus, because I just want to look up a quick word.
Oh, sorry.
Verse 3. Just going to look up a quick word though as well. That word. Yeah. Gracious. Where's just the meaning?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh my word, Ryan's got much more dossier going on here.
Yeah. So which one? You
want? Father of lights.
You want that one?
Oh, it's Kyle. Praise God. Okay, let's go back then. Okay, so verse 3.
Proverbs 31, verse 3. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroys kings.
Okay. What I want to just talk about, what Ryan was just saying, I would love to do a teaching on this, because we might get to that another day.
Yeah.
But it's basically on Kyle. It's on the strength, the might, and the power that God gives to us by his Spirit for his purposes, not to be spent, not to be given away and wasted. And I want to talk in detail about that, because it's actually a fascinating study, how Satan lures us to spend our Kyle, our life force, or Zoe life, as the New Testament puts it, to spend it where there is, it's a black hole. It's just going to suck it out. In fact, it's death inducing, basically, because the Bible says Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Absolutely.
So here this young man is being told not to give his Kyle, his strength. Now, obviously that is his sexual strength, as in his literal seed, but also his physical strength sexually, but also the strength that comes from his provision, his protection, and his pastoring. All of those things take energy. They take life force from a man. And God is saying in his word there, don't give them to many women. Don't just spread them out and so giving your eyes, even giving your thought, like Job said, I am not going to waste my thoughts on other women. I'm not going to spend my lust. Lust in and of itself is just strong desire. Yes. Lust is not a problem. The Bible actually tells us to lust after the things of God. Lust is strong desire. It's just misdirected if it's lusting after other women. And the Bible says, don't give your Kyle, your life force, to women who are not your wife. That is literally like you've got handfuls of money, right? And there's a black hole that's going to suck them down, and it's gone. It's gone. In fact, if anything, it sucks half your hand down with it. And you're like, pull it back, and you're like, oh, half a limb gone. Or over here is this fertile investment soil. You put it over there, and literally as you're planting it, just more is just popping up everywhere. Right? Like, where are you going to sow your money or your seed? Because your life force is like seed. So, and that's what God says about his word too. He literally calls it like seed. So he wants to put it into that which is going to reproduce. When you are putting your resources into women who are not your wives, you are wasting it. It's going into a black vortex, because that is not blessed of God.
No.
The wife of your youth, the Bible says, invest in her. Later on, or earlier in Proverbs, it talks about not sharing her with others and not sharing your seed with others. Investing in her, and let her be yours only. Pour your seed into her, which includes your time, your energy, your protection, your provision, your pastoral, your seed, all of it. Your lust, your desire, Pour that into your wife and she will flourish under it. So the amount of sexual desire that a man wastes on the pages and images of pornography, if he invested 1/100th of that desire into his wife and expressed that lust for her, she would flourish. She will feel so confident sexually towards you and just as a woman, because every woman wants to be the object of desire to her husband.
Yeah.
And if she can see that he is making other women the object of his desire, she will get more and more depressed, more and more discouraged. Just like we spoke about the men last week, feeling less and less like a man. She will feel less and less like a woman. In fact, those women, you'll see them dressing more and more like a butch, not cleaning themselves properly, not smelling nicely, not investing in themselves. Why should they? Because you're not, they feel like he doesn't even desire me. He doesn't find me attractive. And so why should I invest? He's not investing in me, so why should I invest in him?
Yep, absolutely. It's like an abandoned house.
Yeah.
Like when a man is looking everywhere else, he's abandoning his house. And so the house just gets run down. And that's how a wife feels, abandoned, rejected, or obviously dishonored and disrespected, because she, in marriage, gave herself to you, and then, you know, to be honored, respected, but loved on, cherished, and where she'd feel safe and secure. But then if a man his eyeballs are wandering everywhere else, she just feels like that abandoned house.
Super duper. And honestly, guys, it's an absolute waste. And that's what the Bible says. That actually, if you go on and you read Proverbs 5, it talks about that this man who does this and wastes his strength on strange women, so not the wife of his youth, he ends up, it actually says, and dying at the end, he's like, why didn't I just listen to wise instruction? Because he's just sick. And all of it actually says he's going to give his riches to others, his children to others. He's literally wastes his life force, his Kayil strength. If you invest your Kayil into your wife, God blesses that. It's like an investment fund that God says, every dollar that you put into this fund, your Heavenly Father says, I will multiply it by 100-fold. Every dollar that you put in here, God puts 100 in.
I would say 1,000, 10,000.
Because he's so for it. And on this other hand, this is Satan's investment.
Vortex.
This black hole that's like, every dollar that you put in, I will take another year of your life. You know, that's literally what it's like. Because the Bible tells us in Proverbs 5, that man literally dies prematurely and his whole life has been sucked from him. It says, as you go to this woman, she literally, her paths are the paths of death. So why would you waste strength? But it's likewise when a woman is investing in a man who's not her husband. God doesn't bless that. God doesn't bless that. God doesn't bless you when you're a married spouse, when you are prioritizing some other spouse or person of the opposite sex or whatever ahead of your own. God will not bless that.
No,
and
absolutely not.
In fact, only Satan will get on that. So I would say that's a huge way that women feel disrespected. And again, it's very similar to the men, because it's just when you're prioritizing another woman. That's what it does come back to. That's what it comes back to. So another way that a woman can feel that you are prioritizing, say, other women is just even seeing you delighting in another woman. So, you know, I've shared with you like things like I'll see a man and they're driving on their way to an event and they're just silent, you know, driving to the event with their spouse. Then they get out at the event and there's another woman there whose personality is different than their wife, right? And so they start delighting in her personality. And next thing you know, they're laughing at all her jokes or they're trying to make her laugh. And the husband gets so animated for this woman, yet he was deadpan for his wife. Right? And it can be vice versa. But again, this time we're talking about the men. So, but of course, wherever the shoe fits, you just look at it and judge yourself. Don't be sitting there like with your spouse, like, You judge yourself and go, do I do that at events actually? You know, or on the drive, I'm like, da, 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 da. But as soon as we get there, I'm like, oh, hi, you know, to everybody else. And it's like when a woman sees that, even it can just be like you're walking along through the mall and barely even talking. But as soon as you walk into a stall and there's a pretty girl at the cash register, the husband's like, oh, yeah, how's your day going? And, oh, yeah, smiling and laughing. And the wife's like, okay. She feels super disrespected.
Come on.
Again, like, I love it. You know, this is things that Ryan and I practice. But when Ryan goes into a shop and there's a pretty girl at the cash register and he's got all eyes on me. Like, what's some ways, babe, that you could maybe share with the men? Like I shared about, say, at events that I do to show honour to you, that you show honour to me, like, say, when we're walking through a mall or when there's other pretty girls around.
Absolutely. So, first of all, I will either be holding Jack's hand, or if we're standing at a counter, I'll have my arm around her waist, or I'll be pulling her into me. So, you know, my hands are around her, showing, again, she has preeminence. And I won't address the woman. If Jack's there, obviously, she is there. She'll address the woman. And obviously, because some of them even can be dressed a bit inappropriate as well, like got their belly button showing or something like that, or, you know, they've got their cleavage showing and so on. So I'll have my side, or if not my back, and I'll be just checking out my wife. Or I'll have my eyes diverted somewhere else, just to show not interested. I'm not like engaging. Yeah, hey, right, babe. Yeah, like, you know, and I'm looking there because it's like the way I think is if somebody else was there that knew me and I'm looking at this woman, what are they going to be thinking?
It's good.
You checking out her, you know, you know, and, you know, because I'm addressing. So, and so, yeah, just depending on the situation. But I'd definitely be not all over it, but again, I'm physically touching. So I'm physically connected with my wife to show that she has preeminence. And I'll be talking and engaging with my wife, and hey, babe, I got this, you know, and I'll pay for it or whatever. And but then I'm just looking down at the machine or that kind of stuff, and I'm just letting my wife engage. So there's no need for me to engage. So I want to show the deepest and utmost respect for my wife in those situations. So walking through a mall, you know, to again display, babe, you're on the top of my mind. So if there are some people that are inappropriate that's coming towards us that I've seen, I'll go, hey, babe, by the way, somebody's coming out half naked. But I'm addressing it. So I'm acknowledging, say, the elephant in the room, so to speak, and just to show that I'm just going to look the other way. Or I'm just going to have my, you know, my gaze more this way until they pass. Or I'll just engage her, but I'm still letting her know. So letting her know inappropriate pictures, and just different things that are inappropriate. Things that I notice, things that bother me, things that I'm like, I don't like that woman. I don't like the vibes coming off her. I'll let her know. So that way I'm showing she's got preeminence in my mind. She's first and foremost in my mind. I don't care about those women. I care about you. And just addressing those things. So yeah, just
I love that. I also, the two things that just came out of what Ryan said that I really love as well is saving the very best of everything for my spouse, right? Yes. So no one gets my, you know, my kindest words, my kindest affection, my kindest gazes, my most loving, doting. I get all the best. What often happens with people once they've been married for a little bit, they start giving their best elsewhere. To the girl at work, to the guy at work, to the girl at the coffee shop, at the petrol station. So they'll go in there and give them their most animated, most jokey, most laughy, most kind, most fun. Then when they're with their spouse, they're like bitterness and resentment and deadpan is coming out.
Just deadpan.
Right.
You know?
And I remember in our early days before Ryan was saved, I could literally tell by the way his voice was on the phone whether it was a man or a woman. And that's something that I noticed when Ryan got saved, that he changed. Because he used to, like, say if he was talking to me, yeah, hey mate, hey babe, yeah, blah, 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 yeah, I'm coming home here. Or he was talking to another guy, yeah, bro, da, 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 da. But then it would be a girl on the phone whose voice sounded attractive or whatever. And he'd be like, oh, hi, yeah, da, 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 da. And before he was saved, that would come out of his flesh. And I noticed once he got saved, I couldn't tell anymore if it was a man or a woman on the phone, because Ryan treated them all the same. And it was noticeably less than the way he would speak to me. So not that it was rude. It was just very much everyone was just, hey, mate, how's it going? Yeah, hey, I was just wondering if I could da-da-da. I don't care if she sounded like she was the babe of the earth. Ryan would treat her exactly the same. And that showed great respect to me, because when he'd speak to me, it gets animated. It gets playful. It gets flirty. It gets encouraging. It's at another level. And that is the point that we're constantly bringing it back to. It's giving the preeminence was the word Ryan used. Giving the priority. showing who under God gets the best, and then my husband. But it is a noticeable difference with the way that I speak to and interact with him than with everybody else. Nobody gets what I give to him.
Yeah. Now, that may come across as work to some of you. And I say this because Satan will try and make it sound like it's work. But when you're sowing seeds because you want an amazing garden, or you're sowing seeds because you want an amazing crop of vegetables or fruit and whatever else, it's work. You got to till the ground, all that kind of stuff. You've got to sow into it. Now, the incredible thing is, though, when you sow seed, you're reaping a harvest. So I just kind of felt to say this. So when I'm making every effort of mine to show that Jack has the preeminence, it's not work, because, well, it becomes a joy and a pleasure. It becomes something that's very, very satisfying, and I really want to emphasize this. So for wives to your husbands, or husbands to your wives, when I pour into Jack, it's not that I'm having to really work at this, and now it may have started that way, but when you're born again, you got the Spirit of God. It's like you're graced for it, and what you're doing is you're slipping into being Spirit-led when it comes to how to treat your wife. Say for me, how to treat my wife, and it's a delight, it's a pleasure. There's richness, there's so much life in it. You don't know about it yet because you haven't practiced it. So when you prioritize husbands, when you prioritize your wives, the way we're teaching you, wives, when you prioritize your husbands the way you're teaching you, I'm telling you, you're going to walk in newness of life, in life you've never experienced before. And you don't know it because you've never walked it. And we're teaching you the paths of righteousness for you to live the blessed life. And that's what this is all about. And I just kind of really felt to reiterate that.
I love that. Thanks, babe. Yeah, and something else that was triggered by what Ryan had said previously. So I felt, saving the very best for your spouse, which I want to touch on again. But also when he said just about, like, say, him being affectionate physically, I think that PDA, or public displays of affection, are very, very important for a spouse. I would say majority more women than men, but there are some men who like PDA more than women. And PDA, a public display of affection, the reason why some people are very resistant to that often is pride, but a lot of the time in this world system, it's because it's like not wanting to wear their wedding rings in public. Yeah. If I show that I'm passionate about you, then I'm basically showing to others I'm taken, I'm off limits. So I don't really want to, I don't want to have my arm around you. I don't want to be holding onto your hand, because then I'm saying to other people, I'm invested, and I don't want to do that. The whole world is constantly wanting to show that they're available.
Losers.
Absolute losers. Yeah. That's why none of them feel secure in their relationships. None of them are committed. None of them feel happy. None of them are rich and fulfilling. They're all jealous of those who have rich, fulfilling relationships, but yet they are unwilling to be exclusive in their own relationships. They want to stay available, yet have the benefits of an exclusive marriage. It doesn't work that way. So, and while you're wasting your energy and your flirtatious, life force, your Ka'il, your flirtatious life, all my flirtations go this way.
Come on, absolutely.
All of them. I don't waste one seed of flirtation elsewhere because it's wasted seed. I want my flirtation, because flirting is meant to be a lifelong thing. Yeah. Flirting is a delicious thing that we all like doing, but we waste it in all these investments that are not investments. They're suckers, they're blood suckers, they're vortexes, they're black holes, instead of investing them all into that which produces fruit. So anyway, when you do public displays of affection, you are literally saying, I am so proud of my spouse. I am so invested in my spouse. My spouse and I'm exclusively theirs, and they are exclusively mine. Yeah. So a way that you can show your wife great respect and honor in public is being proud to have your arm around her, being proud to be holding her hand, being proud to open the door for her and be chivalrous towards her.
Come on.
Being proud to talk about her, boast about her. When a woman goes, oh, you're having a great day, I'm out on a date with my wife. Look at her, isn't she gorgeous? Your wife will literally be like, oh. Because this was an opportunity that men in the world will ignore their wife, act like they don't know her and start flirting with the girl over the counter.
Come on now.
And instead, you're taking that opportunity to praise her and draw attention and show she has my eyes.
Yes.
I'm telling you, not only does that do something for your wife and for you, that actually brings breakthrough to that. Because I know what it's like to be that girl over that counter before I was saved. And it makes you go, that guy, that is so rare. Like in the 0.1% of the world, I don't see that. And it actually brings an intrigue and goes, what is it about this couple? It must be Jesus. And actually can bring people to the gospel. That's how powerful it is.
Amen. Awesome.
So keeping on going, I would say another way that women can feel disrespected is when a man is vulnerable around another woman. So in the same way that we shared about how men are protectors and providers and pastors to their wives, and if they go doing that to other women, a woman doing that, when a woman goes seeking that from another man, a man can feel disrespected.
Yep.
In the same way, when a man is vulnerable, a woman is, she's like that. The Bible says she's like the, she is like the egg. She surrounds and she comforts and she nurtures. So a man is physically, biologically very vulnerable and exposes himself to his woman in a way that obviously he wouldn't do elsewhere. But emotionally, she's the safe place for a man to expose himself vulnerably and share his feelings, share his emotions, share his struggles with her. Not necessarily going into all the specific details and stuff, but just sharing, hey, I'm under the weather at the moment, or hey, I'm under a lot of pressure at the moment, and getting cuddles from her and affection. If a man exposes himself vulnerably like that to another woman, sharing his feelings and emotions and problems, especially if they're marital problems or problems with his children, stuff that should only be reserved with his wife, a woman is like, excuse me?
Yep.
I am that place for you.
Yes.
How dare you give that to somebody else? I feel so disrespected.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. 100% agree. And that's huge. I mean, a lot of the time, this is how adulterous affairs happen.
Absolutely. They start emotionally,
because,
emotional affairs.
And it's like, hang on, have you been to your wife about this?
Right.
Have you even spoken to your wife about this? I mean, really, then how dare you go to somebody else about that? That's your marriage. That's between you two.
Good, yeah.
So sharing private information with other people like that, definitely super dishonorable and super disrespectful. And see, the whole point of this, Jack mentioned before, may have been in this video, it might have been last week's video, but the thief comes to steal, kill, and to destroy. So he's always about to destroy, drive wedges between relationships, especially marital ones, because they are in covenant with God. It's a godly covenant that you come together with. So he's after the separation. So when we're what do you call it? Outsourcing. We're going outside of that. Well, that's how you're ripping it apart. So keeping it in, discussing it, learning to discuss these things and being open to discuss those things. Because obviously they can be conflictual, if that's the right word, or cause conflict, because it's something where there's a disagreement. There's something that's like, it's something coming between you. But, well, that's how you cleave together. That's how you come together and draw nearer to one another, is discussing it, talking about it. I've definitely been one where I don't talk much at all. Well, I never used to talk much at all, like share my heart. Like, to me, it seemed unmanly. To me, it was more masculine just to hurt, like just to bottle up and, just tough it out kind of thing. But, there are, I mean, we can do that. We can do that. But I'm telling you, it doesn't actually help us. Not really.
No.
We may tough it out and pat ourselves on the back. Why? Because we made it through that season. But that 3 month, 6 month, year long season where you're just toughing it out, if I had just spoken to Jack for 10 minutes, I probably would have been able to get over it in 10 minutes. Rather than months of feeling under the weather and, you're over here, babe. Yeah, I'm good. No, I'm fine. I'm all good. And not want to talk it out. Yeah. But then some other chick comes along and starts going, hey, you're a bit under the weather. But and then we just start opening up. It's like, what the heck? Again, it's like, let's not fall prey to the demon. And it's like, you know what? That's a good point. I need to go home and talk to my wife. Yeah. Hey, but thanks for that. I need to go home and talk to my wife. But again, it's realizing this, understanding this, the dynamics, the spiritual dynamics that's happening, and how we can really sow and grow our own marriages.
I love that. Yeah, because on that, I just thought, it's really important, guys, to give your spouse a chance as well. Like when you were just talking about how, like going to,
100%, yep.
and like say a guy might say, my wife never lets me blah, 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 or my wife always does blah, 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 or, you look beautiful in a dress, my wife never wears dresses. Say something idiotic like that, right? This is what I said, like, I've spoken to Riley about this many times because it really drives me up the wall. When I hear about couples and they end up leaving each other or divorcing or whatever, and then you find out they never even gave the other person a chance to change in those areas. No. They just never even just told them. Or even if they told them with a real harsh startup. So the person just got hurt about it and they're like, I tried to tell you and you just got so cut about it. So then screw you. I just went and told the secretary and she's sweet as about it. And I'm like, you didn't even give me a chance. If you are really upset that your wife doesn't wear dresses or whatever it might be, you need to share that with her in a very nice, encouraging way. Give her a chance.
Well, yeah, because you want the marriage to work.
Don't you?
And you want her to wear dresses.
Right.
So if you do the harsh startup, she ain't going to want to wear a dress for you. So again, it's the way you present it. 100% agree.
Yes.
Perfect. And and encourage them. I reckon you look amazing in a dress.
It's the way you do it.
Like, you just like, you just be like radiant. And I mean, hello. And so you say to somebody, I might think about wearing a dress. Depending on how you bring it up. Yeah.
Right, and there's probably a whole other topic, but I thought I'd just touch on that as well. Okay, and one last thing. There's heaps of things we could have done, guys. We just literally have touched on a few different ones.
Touch on get you started.
Get you started, and then you can go away. And always remember, these are not to start arguments. These are to start, go back and listen to the other conflict resolution videos. They're not arguments. We want to start healthy discussions. Because, Rye was sharing with me, and we'll get to that in a minute, but just about it's relationships where we keep discussing things and keeps growing that keeps relationships really exciting and keeps them really bonding. But we'll get to that. The last one that I just wanted to touch on is basically, again, it's another outsourcing. That's what really offends. That's what really disrespects and dishonors. But when a husband is there to provide provision, protection, and pastoral care for his wife, but he does that for another woman before his own wife. It's like when we spoke about a woman serving another man. So she brings a plate of food in an event. She takes it to another man before her husband, or offers another man a coffee before her husband, or shows deference in some way to another man before her husband. How disrespectful that is. Likewise, I know we experienced this again in the early days before I was saved, but we've seen it with other couples, is seeing my husband or seeing other husbands taking care, like another woman might be struggling with something, and this man would go out of their way to make them feel comfortable, make them feel at ease, not want to put them out, but all the while their own wife was being put out. Or their own wife was not getting what she wanted. For instance, say it right, your wife orders a cappuccino with oat milk and chocolate sprinkles. And then it arrives back and the husband is collecting the coffees and he can see that it is almond milk and it's cinnamon on top. But the girl behind the counter just made it. She's a babe. Do you know what? I just want to be in the good books with her. And he makes a decision in that moment that if I say, excuse me, miss, this actually wasn't made right, I'm not going to be able to flirt with her anymore. Because she's probably going to get in pride that I'm saying this. She's probably not going to like this. So I would rather put my wife out. She can just suck it up. She can drink it. Than stop my game with this girl. Or even if it's a guy, you got so much people pleasing, but it's that your care, your pastoral side, your protective side, your provision side, it's going out first. Again, it's putting somebody in the wrong place. It's showing that your wife is not your top priority. And I often see husbands taking care of other women or even other men and other children above their wives. So it could be their own children. So they let their daughter jump up on their lap and their da-da-da-da-da, but with their wife, they're like, get off, babe, da-da-da, or whatever. Or, and likewise, husbands can do this to your wives. Exactly. It's always both ways. That's right. Because I see women kissing their dogs more than they kiss their husband. Oh, come here, and then get off me to their husbands. And I'm like, what the? Yeah. It's always got to be about priorities, guys. And that's really what we're talking about. The main way you show disrespect and dishonor is by deprioritizing